Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. The last video you saw we did the frame. We still got some work to do to it too. I mean, the other day I finished, did some full out welding on it, did some triple passes and stuff like that for strength reasons. I'm gonna go back and probably clean that up and all that stuff, but we got some more frame work to do because we're gonna do the 4-link kit and all that stuff, so it'll be a little bit before we get that. But today we are going to be working on cutting the tub for the back half frame. So let me see if you can, as y'all can see here, it's 1 inch down, 3 inch over to the second line, and 1/8 to the side. And then so basically, just to double check your measurement, you're going to go from your furthest line out 2 7/8 back, and that should be your 1/8 off that little seam there. So we're gonna, I got this all marked out right now, so you can kind of see my marks on both sides. So I'm gonna cut all that out, which is essentially this box right here. I might try the saws off first, then switch to the old slice and dice. And as you can see, we are doing some sketchy stuff right now. I got these plastic carts and didn't even think about it. Like, hey, let's put this heavy cart on here for with the tub on it. And yeah, that's basically a chassis table, so it's pretty stout. But right now, them skateboards and that plastic are holding just enough for me to be able to move this thing around. But so anyway, let's get to cutting this stuff out, and let's see where I can put you guys. Oh, I'm gonna go right here. So let's get to cutting this stuff out. And yeah, cut it out, and then we'll lay out the tub and try to get the roll cage off with all these, with all the bed liner and crusted holes. And if you guys know WhyLJay, you know everything in these things is rusty and crusty and a pain in the butt to get out. But without further ado, let's get to cutting. I'm gonna do the old slice and dice. And now, since we got to start, we can switch to the sawzall, and get the rest of this thick box in a straight line. Now we just gotta cut that nice and neat, which, yeah, I guess the slice and dice will do that without gouging it too much. All right, so I'm gonna get this other side cut out, and then we'll look at cutting this hub up. All right, guys, so now we're going to take off the seat belts back here, and then try to get these bolts for the dang roll cage out, because they're all caked in bed liner. So let's get to working on that. What? It came out? Milwaukee. One seatbelt done. Two seat belts done. All right. Yeah, we're gonna have to figure out something to dig all this stuff out, because I can't quite recall what size this stuff is. Let me get a pick, see if we can pick it out. Maybe we'll just burn it out. Let's see what we can get down right in here. Oh yeah, no problem. This bed liner stuff, guys. Pain. And of course these are all, I believe these are still Torx. Yeah, let's see if we can melt it a little bit. Oh yeah. Is that the same as the seatbelt? No, right? It's a Torx, but it's a size smaller. Of course. What we got? What we got? What we got? Ooh. I think this one is it. We might have to beat her in there. Oh, man. Alright, so we got this stuff. It's all freaking... I am going to bedline this tub, but I think I'm going to take this stuff off and get something else. Alright, let's give her a little taparoo. Y'all see that hammer slop? I don't know. Let's see. Can we get it without stripping? Oh no, she gonna strip. She gonna strip. She's... Alright guys, so of course we're at the dilemma of these stupid Torx bits stripping out. If you guys ever dealt with WhyJays, you know this is the dumbest thing they ever did. Because either you get the size that fits, or the size that fits, and because everything gets rusted, I'm gonna put the impact on it. Let me see if I can get it with the impact, because sometimes the ratchet, when you're trying to put torque on it, all you're doing is twisting the damn. That's all that's doing is stripping that out. So either we don't have the right size, or we got the right size, and again, shit, crap's just crap. Have I told you how much I hate this stuff? I don't know what I'm doing. Oh man, oh man, oh man. I don't understand. My bit's not messed up. I do believe it might be the bolt. Alright guys, this is where I resort to violence. That one broke. Look at that, folks. I tried to cut it, but we didn't do much. But other than that, I slipped ahead. Now I just made it a flathead. It's awesome. That always works too. Because of course, folks, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to use this cage, obviously, and we're probably not going to use these tie-down points. So let's see if I can get in here and slice a head on this one too. maybe a fresher disc. Fully cut through the dang tub. Maybe we'll just drill the head off that one. Let's go to this one. Move the telephone out the way. See if we can get lucky here on number 2. Probably not, right? I didn't spray this down. I'm just not that lucky. All right, we're gonna try to cut that off. Ah, see that? A little heat goes a long way. All right, let's get a fresh slice and dice wheel. Maybe I can reach in there with that, and then, yep. All right, guys, we got the new bigger slice and dice on there. I mean, that'll give us a little bit more of a reach. And just by looking at it, I can probably get it in there around the corner and just get a nice straight head cut on it. Looks like what we needed. Alright, let's put some heat to her since we can't get the other cut on it. Alright guys, as you can see, different day, same trauma, or whatever it is those kids say these days. As you can see, we've got the tub cut, take the fender out. I didn't film that because it's just a whole lot of Sawzall and grinding disc in and all that. You know, I probably did myself a disservice of leaving the cage in, but I'll fight with that another day. I don't feel like trying to fight those rusty bolt holes. But as you can see, we got some more surface rust that either will get cut out or we'll take care of. But yeah, I'm gonna cut this side out. I'm probably gonna call it a night after that, and then we'll get back on it tomorrow. I'll film some more of that tomorrow. We're gonna cut right along here in this seam, straight across the back of that. We're gonna cut the middle of this arch on both sides up, and then we will pull the tub free. And somehow I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do that without dropping it on my foot. So I gotta get some of my jack stands. I might have to take some of my taller ones, my two taller ones, off the front of the frame and hold it up back here to keep it from plopping this way. At least if it falls, it'll hit the table here, and that should hold it for the most part. But once we get that done, we can take it off, take care of our surface rust, and then set that portion on the frame, because it's going to sit right on these body mounts directly to the frame, which I don't think there's a nut in there anymore, so we'll have to figure that out. Yep, so that's, oh well, no, it goes right there, it goes in that one. So it's going to sit right there on the frame there, but by cutting that out, it'll give me access to cleaning up all this surface rust, so I can do that while it's still sitting on the table here. But yeah, that's gonna be my plan. So I'll get that cut out this evening, and then I'll hop back on tomorrow. Once I get this all cut and we get the side of the tub cut out. But yeah, we're just a work in progress. We're taking her 2 hours a night after work, and then this weekend hopefully we'll get a bunch done, and we'll try to get that filmed. Hopefully I'll get it all on the frame this weekend at some point, and we'll do the armor. But yeah, other than that, guys, I will check back in with you either later this evening before I finish up, or tomorrow. So yeah. All right, guys, it's about 7 o'clock this evening. I just got this side cut out. Obviously, like I said during the other video, that, you know, when you do things twice, sometimes the second time always goes easier. And, you know, this one did go a little bit faster because I kind of knew what I was trying to cut off. But as you can see, you know, we got some spot welds. I'm going to take all this stuff off, clean all this up, you know, clean up these edges, clean up these edges. We're going to have to weld some new Highline fenders, so we're going to clean off these edges and get them all nice and smooth and looking nice. And then again, primer, probably some in here, some rust converter, before we put the new fender liners on. This is the spot that I was kind of worried about. I haven't really looked at it too much, but now that I got this off, it is kind of crunchy. But this torque box is still pretty in decent shape, so we might be able to save that, hopefully. Because these are a pain in the butt to try to replicate or find a replacement for. But we'll get that taken care of and knock off some of this crap, because I'm sure it's holding moisture in. But yeah, she's cut. She's a little, well, I'd say she's a little flexy, but she's still got some stiffness to it. But yeah, so again, as I was saying, we're gonna cut right on this seam right here. You can kind of see it. We're gonna cut that seam all the way across, and then we're gonna, kind of dark, we're gonna measure to the center of the wheel well and cut that there, and then this whole section will come off. So we'll get working on that tomorrow evening. Well, can't do it tomorrow evening, but we'll get back on it this weekend, maybe Friday evening. And yeah, we'll take that off, and we'll get some of this, we'll get all this stuff cleaned up, the rust cleaned up, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, so I will check back in with you the next night I get on this. So yeah, next time you see me, well, it won't be much long for you, but obviously it'll be long for me. So yeah, we'll catch you guys here in a little bit. All right, guys, what is up? It is Friday evening. Getting ready to cut the sides of the tub, and to find center of the wheel well, what I did was I measured from this side to that side, 31. Half of 31 is 15.5. But since I do not have a plumb bob level, what I did was I actually measured off this body seam to the front and basically transferred it to here. You can't really see my Sharpie because I lost my red Sharpie, so we got a green one today. So anyway, from that mark, I measured back 15.5 all the way down, and that's about the center of the wheel well. So we're just gonna chop it right there at the Sawzall, and I'm gonna go mark the other side, and then all right, so I know I said I was going to use the Sawzall, but I'm going to use a slice and dice, be a little more somewhat surgical. Oh, yeah. Careful, she wants to jump on you. Oh yeah, I think it's time to put those jack stands underneath here. So let's go find some jack stands and then cut the rest out. All right, let's cut this side out. Well, we're off a little bit, but again, you're not going to see this with the corner on them. Alright, so as discussed before prior, we are going to cut the tub on this body seam line right here, and I'm going to give that a shot. I'll probably cut this way and then get to that side and cut that, and then we'll figure out how to cut across the center straight, or at least semi-straight. Now we're gonna go and cut this side. metal disc. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little straight edge that I got, clamp it on here to get a good straight cut. Where did I put my C-clamps? Let me find my C-clamps. Oh, they're in the tub. Of course, this. There we go. This portion's straight. Hopefully too, guys, the way I'm clamping this, it pinches the other side, so it's not gonna like get all crazy when it cuts free, which it probably will. And I don't have anything else to brace underneath there. I'm out of 2x4s. No, I got a scrap 2x2. This probably ain't gonna be tall enough. Yeah, that exhaust mount that's there will hold it. You just need to cut it. Before I do all this, I'm gonna change the battery out on y'all because this one's about to die. Alright guys, so forgive me here. I lied to you. So that line you just saw me cut, well, good thing we got a welder. Looking at the instructions again, you have to go off of here an inch and cut. So now we're gonna cut it, and luckily the stuff we did, we didn't cut all the way through. We should be able to hold it in place later on, clean it up and weld it back in, which is fine because we're going to have to weld in. We're going to weld in a piece in here, and we're going to do the Moto-Built Highline fenders. So let's go ahead and cut this the right way. Here's to hoping she don't fall and kill me. Oh, shit. Alright guys, so we are cut free. Woo! It's kind of nerve-wracking, you know, cutting a somewhat decent tub up and praying that it fits. Alright, so I'm going to clean all this stuff up. We'll take it off. And then we'll go over, I guess, trying to put on the frame, see what it looks like. Alright guys, so it's about 8 o'clock at night. I'm getting ready to clean up. I think I pretty much had it for this evening. But as you can see, there's something missing. You know, I guess worst comes to worst, if this doesn't work out, we could always make another back half buggy Jeep thing. But here it is. It's sitting on the frame now. Tomorrow I'm gonna have to reorganize this frame, slide it over so we can get this on here. Somewhere along the lines, we were kind of off on our measurements, and let me turn my flashlight on my phone. We were off just a hair on our measurements, as you can see, on both sides. So nothing a little trim job won't take care of. But yeah, I'll hop back on here in the morning, and we'll get the rest of this going, and I'll figure out if we're gonna deal with the tub surface rust and stuff before we try to join them together or what. Because this is gonna be a fun little project by myself, trying to get this tub back on the frame. It was kind of a pain in the butt to get it off, but I'm definitely gonna pull this cage on the hood. The windshield, luckily from the last WhyLJay, I had these cool quick disconnect pins. So now we can have a quick disconnect windshield when we're going wheeling. But these bars are from my old WhyLJay, just to hold it up here and get the windshield stable while we worked on it. But probably off camera tomorrow, because I knew these are a pain in the butt. If I run into a trick to show you how to get them out. If one gets stuck, then I'll hop on and we'll clip that in. But I'm gonna we'll pull this cage off tomorrow. And then probably slide this back on here and tackle some of the surface rust that we can hit with the scrubbing pad on the old grinder and then hit it with some rust converter just to stop it. This I might actually have to put a patch in, which I have some sheet metal we can use, some 1/8 inch. But I don't know. I don't think these are factory, but comment down below if you guys know for a fact that these are factory. But there's a lot of self tappers just holding random stuff in along this tub. But yeah, we'll get back on it here in the morning. So for now, I'm just gonna call it a night. But yeah, we'll see y'all tomorrow. All right, guys. It's Saturday. Didn't get much progress on dealing with this back half in armor. Ran into, well, I knew it was going to happen, but we ran into it. I've already patched this side. Had to cut a piece out, patched in there. As you can see, as we discussed before, this is all rotted. This is all rotted. So I'm going to cut this all out tomorrow, get a patch panel. I've got to cut this open to get a body mount bolt that's spinning free in the nut, so probably gonna pull that out, weld another nut in there or something. I'll see what it is once I cut it open. I did do this in my last WhyLJay. Basically what I did was just do a X cut, spread it open, push it back, weld it up. But yep, that's what we did today. I didn't film much of it. Well, I didn't film any of it because, well, it's just one of those things you got to get your head into and just start doing it. But yeah, I'm gonna get back on it tomorrow doing the other side, and then I'll hop back on the video once we start getting the tub together on the frame. Well guys, I have no idea what day it is today as far as where we left off in this video, and as you can see, we are rocking pawpaw status today. A little chilly out here. And, well, obviously, I don't know, you can see my small little shop is, once again, a tiny mess. Just working with what we got as far as space is concerned. But, let me flip y'all around here. We got the tub back on the frame and somewhat joined together. I'm working on putting the fenders on the armor. So yeah, I guess last time we left off I had a patch this spot here, that spot over there. Eventually, once this is all done, I'm gonna actually wire wheel this whole thing, because I mean, it's a bed liner, but it's more like rubberized. So I'm gonna pull that all out, probably use some Raptor liner. I need to re-seam seal this whole back piece. I mean, obviously once we get this piece in, probably seam seal underneath. But so I was looking at this, and that side's perfectly level. I picked up a 4-foot level the other day because I didn't have one, and when you're doing house projects, you probably need one. But this side was far from level, and then when I got down here and looked, we're still like a 1/2 inch off the frame. So back in here, where's my phone for a flashlight? You can see back in here it's sitting on this lip, and I'm gonna cut a little more out of that lip to basically fix that issue, because we're flush on the other side. So we'll cut that out, and then it'll sit down better and we can level this out, because this is supposed to sit right here on this body mount flush on the frame. And I mean, as you can see, when I push down on it, it wants to pop right back up. But yeah, by this coming down some more, it'll bring this end down, because right now it's way too high. And then when I do that, it'll actually make this fitment in better over here, because on the other side it actually is closer. So we're gonna do that. Let's get set up. I guess get set up to do that. Get back into the working mode. on this old beautiful Project WhyLJay. Alright guys, so I'm sitting here trying to figure out the best way to cut this without having to pull this thing all back apart. So what I did was I just got a 2x2, jammed it underneath there, and I took some metal shears and kind of snipped it a little bit and pulled it up enough to see if I can get the sawzall in there. So let's get the old sawzall try. Come on, man. It's not big enough, wide enough for the blade. This blade's about had it. Luckily I went to the old Harbor Freighter yesterday and had to pick some things up, so I don't know. I've never used these blades before. I don't know if they're any better than the others, but I don't know what the heck's wrong with this little sawzall. Well, now the battery's dying. Before it was like 4 bars. But I like this thing. Ugh. There we go, baby. All right. Now that that's out of the way, little pair of needle nose. If I can reach it with a needle nose. All right. Boom, we are sitting flusher now, baby. Right where she's supposed to be. All right, so what we're gonna do, let me put you. All right, so now that we got this back up and together, just for giggles. That's about where she should be. Might actually have to come down some more. It's sitting on there. It's sitting right on the frame on this side, and this side's got a little bit more give. Oh, Amazon, where are you with all my other clamps? So that little piece back here might be what's hanging this up. So I'll probably have to pull this up and just cut a little bit more off the top of the back side of the tub here on this side. But other than that, we are pretty much level, as you can see. It's about where I want it. I would like it to be a little bit closer on the bottom of this door, but really what you're doing is you're kind of just trying to follow this body line, and then this is going to dip down a little bit just to give you clearance from your door. So I am pretty happy with that for now. But like I said, I am going to cut this tub real quick back here, and then she ain't level no more. Yeah. And then once Amazon comes, because I ordered some more C-clamps like those pliers, I'm going to clamp this all up, and then I'll get back with you guys, and then we're going to basically trace all of this all the way around the headlight, the tail lights, those areas, and we're going to cut all that out, put them back on, and then we're going to drill and bolt all this stuff. Now obviously these four, you don't really have any steel behind these four here. So really what I might do is I might get some sheet metal later on and kind of trace out that pattern, and I might, more than likely I will, but then I'll weld it in and then cut it to the fender down here. So I mean, that looks like it's gonna be pretty simple enough. I don't have another tub, and I'm not gonna buy another tub just for that straight section up top, but I figure if I match that somewhat, I can at least bolt it. It'll be welded to that. It'll look good instead of just having a bolt head with a nut. I mean, I guess I could weld them up and then flap disc them flat, but we'll see. I'll see how I figure that out when the time comes. But all right, so I'm gonna trim this back piece out so you can see here it's sitting on the frame. But over here we've got about a finger width gap. So I'm gonna trim this up. And then like I said, once I get my clamps from Amazon today, we'll clamp this up and we'll get back through putting all the nut certs in and stuff like that. And then eventually what I have to do is pull these back off, primer everything, and put like a base coat of paint on it just to keep it from rusting. I haven't really done the frame to that yet because I probably should at least put some kind of primer on there, because I'll have to get ground off if I haven't figured it out. I think I'm doing coils, but maybe I'll do coilovers. I don't know. I got to figure out all those mounts and stuff once we get to that point, when I get the axles and I get the Motobuilt 4-link kit in. But I still need to get the Motobuilt piece for here and the Highline fenders. So I also haven't really figured out my plan yet. I think my plan is to at least finish out the tub, because once I get those parts, then we can kind of just work on prettying up the tub and getting that bed liner off, redoing the bed liner inside, cleaning the bottom of it off again some more, and actually getting some bed liner on it, or just paint it better, because that is that rubberized undercoating, and I think that's the reason why a lot of this has rust, because the moisture got in there and it just sat in those areas and it couldn't get out. I really hate that rubberized stuff because to me, it just, I feel it traps moisture. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think that might be my plan, is to get that in there, maybe plan a dash, but I don't want to go too far without having axles, without having a motor. The suspension's not done. You know, I don't have the boat sides yet. So again, man, this is one of those one piece at a time builds. Like I said, this, I don't know how many videos or how often I'm going to be able to do videos on it without having the material to do the job. But good morning, guys. We are back. Not sure where I left y'all off at, but we got a white monster here, and we're going to get to work. So I think I left y'all off at, you saw, I talked about the patches we had to do. And then you saw me set this tub on. Well, the armor's fully on. Walk y'all through this real quick. The Moto-Built kit does not give you nut certs. So I took it upon myself to put nut certs in for these three, just because I don't want to drill through here just yet, just to be able to put a nut on. If these nut certs become a problem, then yeah, that's what I'll do. We've got the tail lights in, kind of. So I picked up some skill saw blades for my jigsaw. You're supposed to cut these out 3/4 of an inch wider than this hole. So we're gonna pull this off, cut this out, cut this one out since it's around the gas tank. As you can see here, this one's pretty good, but this one I have to cut out some more. But what I used was a 4-inch hole saw. So a 4-inch hole saw is perfect for this bottom one, but not for this top one. So as you can see, we have to, you know, overlapping. So what happens, what goes in here is they give you this bracket. This bracket bolts in back here with these, and that's what holds your tail light. And down here supposed to be like a Baja Designs Squadron light for reverse. But I'm not quite sure I'm going to run one of those yet. I got to put something in there, but I mean, the kit comes with a brake, turn, and reverse light. These LEDs, they're kind of cool. They fit in that bracket in that big circle. But let's take this off real quick and cut this out, and we'll slap it back on, and then we'll end the video there, I guess. Also, I found some 5/16 nuts, because they provide you with nylon nuts, and taking this on and off, you will destroy the nylon nuts. So if you're going to do this, make sure you have some extra 5/16 nuts. Or I mean, like, this is left over from a WhyLJay hardtop from my last one. That's just a random one from a bolt bin. But I did order these pieces from Genrite. I'm just going to trim them to fit and weld them in there, just so this part of the tub's complete. Not quite sure what I'm going to do down here on both sides. They give you 3 bolt holes for something. I guess I could, you know, tie a piece of sheet metal in to here. But as previously stated, I'm still waiting to get this piece and the Highline fenders. And then I'll probably work towards getting the 4-link mount that goes underneath. But I kind of more or less just want to get this tub to a decent position, decent spot. I kind of want to, like I said, I want to get all this body liner out of here. I mean, some of it's kind of rubberized, some of it's kind of hard, but I want to put like a Raptor liner or something in, or maybe just get Seymour's bed liner kit and just do the whole inside of the tub. Because we're going to have to clean this off to weld too. And, you know, there's all these other pieces that I need to clean up that are from the original factory inner fenders. I mean, there's some spots here that need to be cleaned up. And so, yeah, there's still some sheet metal work to do that I'll probably just obviously do off camera and just do shorts with. Like, this stuff right here. So you cut this for, you know, obviously for the armor, but what I kind of want to do is cut it here, and then fold this in and then weld it so it's still solid again. Just make it look a little better because these do move. So that's another thing I had to pay attention to. I guess when we put the inner fenders, we'll have to pay attention, you know, to measure from here to here, and then make sure the same measurement is across so you're not out or too far in. So let's go ahead and get this armor off. We'll get this cut out, and then yeah, let's get her done. All right, guys. Also, I did put a nutsert in here. I mean, you can get back in there through this way, but again, just nutserts is just so much easier. So as you can see, I did take a flat disc cutoff wheel and I did kind of scratch it out. I did kind of, so what we originally tried to do was cut this with the little hacksaw, but it just wouldn't turn right, so that's why I figured just use a jigsaw. I've got one, so we'll take care of that. And then of course, you know, so there's some still surface rust here that will flap off and clean up. I did pick up some 2K epoxy primer to put on this armor to keep it from like continuing to get surface rust, so at some point I'll do that once I get all this tied back in together. You know, I gotta clean all this off, and I'll probably I probably won't put bed liner back on here, just because there's really no need to once the armor sits on top of it. So all right, let's get the jigsaw plugged in and hooked up, and we'll pull the other side off, and then we'll just cut them out. All right, guys, you can see here, you just got like a little metal blade, a little jigsaw, and we'll give her a shot. What kind of crap was that? as you guys can see, much smoother of a cut as opposed to trying to use like a little sawzall or something. Again, hole saw is probably better. Again, this was a 4-inch and it's got to go a little wider. That was a 4-inch and it's perfect. So I guess if you had a 4.5-inch hole saw or something, or maybe, you know, 5-inch might be a little too big, but if they make a 4 3/4, you get a 4 3/4 hole saw and a 4-inch hole saw, and that would be just about perfect, and you'd get a perfect circle. So let's cut this top one out. All right, nothing fancy, but it's obviously bigger now, so it should work. Yeah, we'll get the other side cut out, and I'll get back to you guys. All right, guys, so I just finished cutting all this stuff out. Placed the armor back on just to see how it would feel, how it would look. So obviously, as you can see, it's cut a little bit wider. And I think the reason why you want to cut it wider is just so you don't see the tub through the backside. Also, if you're working in a small shop like me, you could use Ear Pro, obviously, when you're running these power tools. I'm just using my AirPods because I've got some good earplugs, but these work in a pinch. But yeah, so like I said, it's probably more or less just so you don't see the tub from this side. And that bracket, like again, that bracket's just gonna sit up in here on these 3 nuts. Like that, and that's gonna hold your tail light. So obviously, again, by cutting the tub back, you won't see it through the hole. And then obviously off the bottom here, this bottom 2, that's where your Squadron, Baja Design Squadron or something similar is going to fit, and you could use those for reverse lights. But again, I'm not sure what I'm going to put in there because those have reverse lights in them, so we'll see. But we'll see when I get there. Other than that, I think that's where I'm going to end this video. Armor's on. Again, we still got to get the Highline fenders, and we still got to get the patch in the middle. And then I gotta put the GenRight stuff on the side so I don't have to source another tub, and just for like 15 inches of tub rail. So I'm gonna do that, and then yeah, so she's slowly coming together. Honestly, I think my plan's really gonna be working on the tub, getting the tub right. I'm not going to worry about building a dash or a center console just yet, but you know, as far as like the main structure of the tub, and you know, maybe line the tub, And then we'll work on doing suspension and sourcing the axles from Huffman's Fab. And then I still don't know what I want to do with the motor. I mean, I really would love a 5.3, but at the same time, for a 5.3 in a transmission, I could get, you know, 2 4.0s and an AX15 or something. So we'll see. You know, again, a 5.3 would be awesome. Now, do we do a NV 4500 or we do a 4L80E? Obviously, you can't run a Dana 300 with that because from what I've researched is the front drive shaft hits the transmission pan. And of course, you could use a I don't know what they use, a 241 or a 231 transfer case, but you know, being twin stick crawlers, we kind of have to have something that's twin stick. Otherwise it defeats the purpose. But yeah, thanks again for watching, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to finish this up off camera. Probably do a lot more little shorts because it appears everybody's watching shorts more than a full-on video, and that I understand, because who really wants to see someone use a grinder and tools and weld stuff, you know, for 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes at a time. So even if I do these videos, it's probably going to be more of like an update here and there, walkthrough. I could, you know, show y'all how I do some things. You know, comment down below if that's what you kind of guys want to see, more of walk-arounds after the fact. And then if you guys want to know more information on it, I could do another video of how I did it. You know, what's the best way to do it, what to pay attention to, and, you know, the mistakes I run into and stuff like that. But until then, guys, you know the deal. Keep the shiny side up. Keep her locked and in low. Thanks again for being here. Really appreciate it. Taking time out of your day to watch this. You know, just makes me feel good that if someone's having a bad day and they're watching the video, it makes them feel better about themselves, or, you know, whatever situation they're in. You know, as long as I can put a smile on your face, I'm doing my job right, I guess. But yeah, also, you know, the website's still there, twinstickcrawlers.com. Got stickers, got hats. I don't really benefit much off the merch cost. Whatever you guys buy just goes back into buying more product to keep the brand name out there. Again, follow me on Instagram. Post a lot more there sometimes. Tag me in your pictures. If you've got merch, tag me. I'll share them. You know, tag me in your reels. I'll share them. You know, appreciate all that stuff, getting the brand out there. But yeah, guys, I will catch y'all on the next one.